heavier than the NSX. It's not though. This weighs in at 1,703 kilos, which means it's no lightweight, but it's still lighter than this, because this is 1,759 kilos. It's because of all the batteries and motor and hybrid tech on it, you see, adds weight. Interestingly though, while they look very different, they both have quad tailpipes. Hard to spot them here on the NSX, but yes, they're down here and you can see whereas with the GTR now, it'll take Sorry. Now let's compare the car's chassis. The NSX has an aluminium space frame. It has a carbon fibre floor for added stiffness. Also, you've got the engine mid-mounted. That drives the rear wheels, and it has a 9-speed dual-control automatic gearbox plus a limited slip differential across the rear axle. You've then got 2 electric motors at the front, 1 for each wheel. You get torque vectoring so that you can control the amount of power goes at each wheel. You've also got electric power steering and 2 stages. Meanwhile, GTR has a 3-stage. It's also got hydraulically assisted power steering for that old school feel. The chassis itself is a monocoque steel. The engine is at the front, and then they've got this weird, quirky way of doing the 4-wheel drive system. So you've got a rear transaxle. However, when you launch the car, that setup does mean that all the power goes to the rear, 100% to the rear, so you've got a launch. Now, actually, that sounds like the world. Maybe Godzilla is away. So you've got that 4-wheel drive system. At the back, you've got a limited slip differential. Brake front wheel, torque vectoring by braking sort of thing. Anyhow, let's compare how these cars actually drive by driving them on a twisty mounted road. So straight away, this thing feels like an absolute monster. The steering, you notice it, you go over bumps, it kicks back to you through the steering wheel because you've got hydraulic steering, old school style. I've got the suspension in the medium setting, the drivetrain in aggressive, and the stability on, because this will brake traction it really well. Even though it's got loads of grip, it's got loads of power as well. Whole car is busy though, shaking, wobbling, telling you what's going on. And then in comes the power. And this thing just flies. Everything is a sensory experience, it really is. The noise, the brake pedal feel, which is strong. The steering, whoa! And the grip. This thing flies, it absolutely flies, but you sort of manhandle it around. You really have to wrestle it. Oh, it's not called Godzilla for nothing. It's going to be interesting to see how that NSX compares to this. You get a bit of a workout when you're driving this thing fast, let me just tell you that much. Jumping out of that GTR into this NSX, it just feels so very different. It's got a slightly artificial sound to the engine note. It's so much smoother over bumps, so much more relaxed and refined, easier probably to go quicker straight away. The way it's dealing with those bumps is impressive, and the steering's not fighting back at you. But at the same time, it doesn't have quite the feel or the urgency of that in the GTR. Despite all its digital features, you can't really tell that it's doing clever stuff with its electric motors. It just seems to hook up and get you down the road. It feels natural, it really does. They've done a great job on it. And even though it's slightly heavier than the GTR, it actually feels a little bit lighter. Is it such an experience? It's not as intense, and it's confidence inspiring. The GTR you need big balls for, whereas you can drive this quick with little teeny balls. I reckon when you get into the groove of the GTR, it will ultimately be a little bit more rewarding. This GTR Nismo has a claim to fame. It has the biggest brakes ever fitted to a Japanese production car in the history of the world. So you got carbon ceramics all around, 410mm discs up front, gripped by 6-piston calipers. At the back, 390mm discs, gripped by 4-piston calipers. The Honda NSX's brakes are a little bit smaller. So as standard, you get steel brakes.
My
and
gaming chair is
368mm
OP.
disc at the front, gripped by 6 piston calipers, whereas at the back, 360mm disc, gripped by 4 piston calipers. But if you upgrade to these carbon ceramics, then your diameter increases at the front to 381mm discs. And at the back, it stays the same, 360. So it's got slightly smaller brakes than the Nismo GTR, but will that have an effect on the braking performance? Let's find out. Right, let's see how good this NSX stops. So, full emergency stop from 70 miles an hour. Use my specialist timing gear to test it. See what distance it takes to stop. Here comes the line. Oh, is it regenning as well? Regenning, putting some energy into the battery while I'm braking. That's actually pretty blooming good. 41 metres. It's stopped from 17, 41 metres. Impressive. Right, now for the Nissan. Let's see if you can beat what the Honda did. Here we go. Here comes the braking zone. What did we get? What did we get? Oh no, look. Oh, sorry Nissan. 44 metres, I'm afraid. Looks like that's a victory for the Honda. Now let's compare these cars' interiors, and yeah, interiors on either this NSX is or the GTR strong point. So this is an interior like you might expect from a supercar from 10 years ago. It's a bit plasticky in places, whereas other materials do feel quite nice and well made. I do love the seats though. They are super comfy and you sit nice and low. The steering wheel feels nice, but the paddle shifters are cheap and plasticky. And there's this general layout, it's a bit odd, and the infotainment system. Oh, it leaves a lot to be desired, this Honda infotainment system. You don't even get satellite navigation as standard. Then there's the digital dials, which are okay, but they're starting to look a little bit dated. And some of the graphics are a bit childish for a car at this price. Wait till you see the launch control icon. It's just, it's embarrassing. You'll see it soon when I launch the cars.
What the fuck is that for pocket chip?
If the Honda's interior feels a decade older, this feels almost 2 decades. There's no digital dials here. Well, there is a little digital display with a bit of information. They're not quite as comfy as the ones in the Honda, but they are more body hugging, carbon fibre about the place. Plus, look, cup holders and little door pockets. You don't get door pockets in that NSX. Now that's better. It's got cheap feeling paddle shifters yet again, like the Honda though. This is the thing I hate about this car. You need to use 2 levers to adjust the steering wheel. You almost break your thumbs trying to undo them. Look, so that's the up and down one. Now I need to release another one for the in and outy one. Look. At least the infotainment system isn't as bad as the